So we're looking at question number 17 from the MAC 1140 Pre-Calculus Final Exam Review. It's asking us to use the given zero to find the remaining zeros of the function. We're given the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared minus 5x plus 39, and the given zero is negative 3. So to start by solving this, we're going to go ahead and set up synthetic division. So to do that, we're going to take the zero given, and we're going to put that on the outside. So it's going to be negative 3. I'm going to go ahead and draw my box for synthetic division. And then we're going to take the coefficient from each term of our function and put it in. So we have 1, negative 3, negative 5, and 39. Now we're going to go ahead and drop down the first coefficient, and that's going to be 1. So negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 3 is going to be positive 18. 18 minus 5 is positive 13. And then we're going to have 13 times negative 3, which is negative 39, which gives us 0. Since we have a zero remainder, this means that our function that we're getting out of this is a quadratic function, and we have positive x squared minus 6x plus 13. Now that we have this done, we can go ahead and move on to our second step, which is going to be using the quadratic formula to solve for the remaining zeros. So if you remember the general equation for the quadratic function, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, we know that we have different parts of it. And the a, b, and c refers to the coefficients, or the values of our numbers. So we know that we have a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 6, and c is equal to positive 13. And if you can recall the quadratic formula, you have negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we're going to go in and plug in our a, b, and c into our quadratic formula to solve for our remaining zeros. So we're going to get negative 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared plus, I always like to put a bracket just so I can make sure I know these. We're going to have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus, and I always put a bracket just so I know to subtract the entire thing. And then you do 4 times our a value, which is 1, and our c value, which is 13, bracket to close it. And all of this is divided by 2 times our a value, which is 1. So let's go ahead and keep simplifying this. We'll get 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 1 is 4, 13 times 4 is 52. So you get minus 52. Divided by 2. And then simplify again, and we'll get 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 16 divided by 2. And then further simplifying, we get 6 plus or minus, remember the square root of a negative number is going to be whatever the number, the perfect square is, with I attached to it for imaginary, because that is an imaginary number. So the square root of 16 is 4, and we know it's negative, so that needs to be an I. Divided by 2, and when you reduce this down, because we know 2 can go into 6 3 times, and it can go into 4 2 times, we get the final answer of 3 plus or minus 2i. as our remaining 0 of the function.